to give you a quick recap on day two of our workshop series that we've been doing on Zoom, how to prepare for the future with dementia. So, we talked about the three most common, most likely challenging behaviors you will likely encounter. I want to go home, sundowning, and delusions. So, we got super, super into that. But before I recap, I want to let you know that it's not too late to attend live. We are coming together tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. To get the Zoom link, go to dementiasuccesspath.com or look in the description of this live for the link to get that Zoom link. You also get cheat sheets. You also get all kinds of awesome things. So, um, it is going to be awesome. We're going to be giving out prizes. We're going to be having a huge Q&A. There's going to be quite a few people there, so definitely join. You are not alone as a dementia caregiver. From you just suspected dementia all the way to the late stages. It's for everybody. So, uh, last night, day two, what we talked about was sundowning. I want to go home, delusions. So I'll start with Sunday. No, I'll start with I want to go home. I changed my mind. All right. So I want to go home. I think what a lot of people get wrong with that is they are desperately trying to convince their person that they are home. They'll say, "You are home. You moved here a little bit ago. Here's your house deed." The reason why that doesn't work is that our folks with dementia don't actually see home as a physical place. They see it as if I could just get to home, I will feel safe. I will feel comfortable. I will know everybody's faces. I will know where everything is. That's what they keep thinking. But the problem is that they're looking for somewhere that doesn't exist. So, what we want to do instead is we want to either help meet their needs or we want to help them uh, realize, find a reason why the person they're trying to get to, like, they don't necessarily have to get to them right this second and then redirect them. I think a lot of people are terrified to stay on the I want to go home for too long. I think everybody's mistake is that they try to distract them as quickly as possible. And while that works pretty well with like toddlers, for example, it does not work very well with our folks with dementia. And the reason why is like the more upset and the more like, oh, something's wrong, that's there for them, the less likely they're going to let it go and just be able to be distracted. Hi, Sienna, welcome. Yeah, so what's there for them is, or what we need to do is first we want to get them calm because I don't know about you, but I'm really upset. I'm not listening to anybody. Like it's just not happening. So first we want to get them calm. And then once they're a little bit calm and are in a mental place to answer very simple questions, we want to get curious about what are they looking for at home? Are they looking for a thing? Are they looking for their bed? Are they looking for a person? So, how you would approach them looking for an actual like item is if you're just like, oh, are you looking for are you looking for a person? Are you looking for a thing? So let's just say they're like, "Oh, I'm just so tired. I just need to go to home to get to bed." It's like, "Ah, yeah, for sure. Hey, here, let me show you something. We got a really comfy bed that you could borrow while you're here." So again, you're helping them meet their need. The issue was that they didn't understand that they could take a nap there. So helping them take a nap is a solution. However, a lot of times when they're asking to go home, they're looking for like their kids or their mom and dad or something along those lines. That's a little trickier because you can't just like summon the 1970s version of like their kids or their mom and dad. So, what you do instead is I love to use leading questions. So what leading questions are questions that by design give you an answer that leads you to the conclusion you want them to have. So, what that looks like is if they're saying, "I need to get home to mom and dad." Oh, okay. Well, it's 2 o'clock. What are mom and dad usually doing at 2 o'clock when you're not with them? And what you're leading them to is A, to get more information, but B, uh, it helps you agree with them. When you try to come up with like what could mom and dad could be doing out of like thin air, you could get yourself in trouble. So I love the leading questions because it ensures that I'm never wrong. I'm just agreeing with them and what they think is happening. So let's say we ask a question. Ah, it's 2 o'clock. Mom and dad aren't here. What would they usually be doing at this time? Maybe they're saying, yeah, dad's probably at work and mom's like at the grocery store, something along those lines. Then you could say, you're probably right. They're probably fine." Something along those lines, and Once you see them calm, you've addressed their concern, then we can redirect them. Then we could say, "Oh, hey, I've been making a really fabulous fall soup. Here, could you do like a little taste test for me?" That is a really easy way to redirect them. Because again, if you just say, if you start off, if you lead with, "Hey, I have an amazing fall soup I want you to try. Don't worry about mom and dad, they're fine." If you try to skip too quickly to that, like you don't help them come to their own conclusion that mom and dad are fine, then they're going to be like, "No, no, no, wait, wait, why are we skipping over mom and dad?" Like they're not dumb. Like they just have a different belief system in that moment than you or I might. So that's what we do. We want to calm them down. We want to understand what they believe. We want to ask them some leading questions. Then we redirect them. See, Sienna says, my mom had hallucinations. She'll say things like, "Do you see the person in your car? There's no one in the car when she says this." That can't happen. I'd say it can happen with Alzheimer's, but I'd say it most commonly happens in like Lewy body dementia. Like in Lewy body, that's like a hallmark symptom. And hallucinations are kind of tricky in that your person with dementia, like if you lean too heavily into like, "Oh yeah, I see the hallucination too," like validating them too hard, sometimes that can help make it hard for them to transition away from that. And you don't always have all the information there since obviously you can't see the same hallucination they do. So what I do is I validate the thing that is demonstrably true, which is their feelings around the hallucination. And I only do that if they ask me to help them with the hallucination or if they seem really, really upset and just need help transitioning away. If they're just like happily babbling to like a little kid, like a puppy in the corner, like I just leave them alone. I just I just let that be. But if they are like directly asking me for help for that, I speak more to the emotion behind it. So if they look upset or scared, I say, "Wow, you look upset or scared. What are you seeing?" And they may say like, "Oh, there's like a," actually the craziest one I heard from a man with Lewy body is he literally swung his arm in front of me and said, "Do you see that?" And I'm like, what are, like, what are you saying?" And he's like, "The barbed wire and the severed heads." So who knows? So ultimately what's there, what I would do in that situation is say like, "Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty unsafe. Here, let me get you somewhere safe." Changing the scenery helps a lot for a lot of these folks, and then from there, just asking them, "Do you feel okay? Do you feel safe? How can I help you feel safe?" Because for one, it's gonna help them feel heard and validated, like their concerns matter. Because the truth of the matter is, while the hallucinations aren't real, their feelings are real. Uh, I find that to be a lot more helpful in dealing with the hallucinations. Because again, you don't have all the information. You can't see what they're seeing. So the best you could do is ask them what they're seeing and speak to what they're feeling. So that's what I would do when it comes to hallucinations. Yeah, that's a little bit more nuanced. So, uh, anyways, I'll move right on down to sundowning, which is something else we talked about yesterday. So, sundowning, I would think of it as the brain getting really overtired. So, if you guys have ever had like little kids in your life, who skipped a nap or something like that, and they're just like freaking out, like they're melting down. It's very similar. Like for someone with dementia, it looks like them pacing, them being really anxious, really agitated, really on edge. And a lot of that is because their brain's tired and they're struggling to organize their day. I think as adults, we really take for granted that it's a skill that we've developed over the years, how we can organize our day and understand what's coming next. Our folks with dementia have lost the ability to do that. So they look to us to help keep their day organized. And what I mean by that is you don't necessarily have to have like a really, really intense structure with them, but having like a consistent routine and maybe an hour before they typically sundown, getting them to do like a pretty low brain energy type activity. For me, it's like folding towels, watering plants, stuff like that. Getting them outside really helps them too. If it's like nice and sunny or nice weather, then from there it's a lot easier. Then they're not wondering like, what do I do next? Like that's the big anxiety of sundowning is them trying to think, I for the life of me feel like I need to do something important, but I cannot remember what that important thing is. And is maddening feeling, which is why it's like they look like they're just on edge. So if an hour before you already gave them the next thing they should be doing, it really helps out their brain a lot. It helps their brain be able to go on autopilot and just relax through that time period that's really hard. They struggle a lot with transitions. So That's going to be really helpful for those folks as far as prevention. But if they've already been pushed over the edge, they are in sundowning, your goal is to get them calm and then redirect them. So, what that can look like, it just depends on how upset they are. So if they are super, super upset, what you'll do is maybe change the scenery, take them outside, take them to a different room. I'll do some grounding stuff if they're having like an anxiety attack. So what that can look like is I'll just hand them some water to drink. I'll say, "Hey, do you see that leaf? Do you feel the ground on your feet?" Something like that, just to get them out of their head and into their body, just to calm down their nervous system a little bit. It's very helpful if you're someone who has like anxiety or like panic attacks or things like that. Uh, Lastly, what I'll do then is maybe hand them something tangible too. Uh, and have that be our transition to the thing we are doing next once they're a little bit more calm and centered. Uh, Something else I do too with sundowning is I may take away stimulation. So if their brain is overwhelmed, I may dim the lights. I may turn off the all sounds around us. Uh, I provide an environment that's a lot less stimulating around them to help their nervous systems and their body calm down. Anyways, that is sundowning in a nutshell, why it happens, and all that good stuff. Uh, my mom sundown when she was in the hospital for a couple of days, but hasn't sundown since she's been home. Yeah, probably because she's in her regular routine again. Her brain doesn't have to work as hard to figure out what the heck is going on. Uh, yeah, like it's interesting because what dementia will reveal for a lot of people is that we're under the impression that we are logical beings that like occasionally feel, but that is 110% not true for all of us. What dementia reveals that we're actually emotional beings that occasionally think. Like that's just who we are. So what's interesting too is I think that really dovetails into a big fear that a lot of caregivers have, which is my person going to forget who I am? Hey, Maria, welcome. Um, so it's a lot more nuanced than that. So they will, I'd say there's a good chance that your person with dementia is going to forget your name. There's a good chance that they're going to forget how specifically you fit into their life. But how they experience and grow a relationship with you over time is based on entirely of how they feel about you. So a lot of the patients that I took care of, they had no clue what my name was and how I fit into their life, but uh, would mention that they felt safe around me, that they felt calm around me, and that they trusted me. So honestly, that's truly what matters. That's what actually being in a relationship with somebody really means. So if you're wondering to yourself, well, once they forget who I am, like, does it even matter if I visit them anymore? Absolutely. You can still definitely grow a relationship with someone with dementia. It's just gonna look a little bit different. Maybe the most encouraging thing I can tell you guys about dementia in general is this disease cannot, cannot steal the love that they have for you or you have for them. It just can't do it. It just can't. Because how we feel, our emotions are just a lot more complicated than like basic facts that we store in our brain about each other. It's just a lot more nuanced than that. So hopefully we just take heart in knowing that while yeah, our relationship is going to change a lot with that person. uh, the core fundamentals of the love, the trust, the safety with each other, that can all continue to be built and secured over time. It's still very much worth it to engage and to just be with your person with dementia. They still want to feel like they matter. They still want to feel like they have purpose. And easy ways to do that is just uh, taking any task that they would have done in the past and just breaking it down into like the tiniest steps. Like them doing the dishes may now look like they're just holding the dishes for you while you just put them in the dishwasher. It could be very, very, very small steps, but that involvement matters a lot because it makes them feel like, okay, I'm still a participant in my life. I'm not just having everybody do everything for me. Like I know it feels like if they can't do a task from start to finish anymore, that it's better to just take over and do it for them. I'm telling you, it's not. It's making them more confused and it's making them feel like more depressed because they've lost an ability to do a task from start to finish, that they're losing parts of who they are. And that's tragic. And that's nobody's fault per se. It's just the disease is just evil and it just takes things from people. But we have an opportunity to help support them to do as many things as possible, no matter how far they get into the disease. So I'll get off that soapbox there. uh, Lastly, we talked about delusions last night. So delusions are like unshakable beliefs. This happens because their brain is like so we want to think of dementia less as like them being a little forgetful, and we want to think of it more as brain damage over time. So as the disease progresses, they're amassing a little bit more brain damage throughout their brain. So once that brain damage has occurred, it's abilities, communication, emotional regulation, a lot of that's gone. So what's there, what we want to do is we want to focus on what they can still do today. I know. It's important to grieve what they used to be able to do or anticipate what abilities they might struggle with in the future, but it's going to be better for your and their mental health if you spend most of your time focusing on what can they still do today? How can I support them in doing what I need them to do or what they need to do or what I need them to do today? So, what that looks like in the context of delusions is that they're constructing reality from all different types of places since their brain is in chaos. Like, if you're going to visualize what the inside of a person with dementia's brain looks like, it would be like you have a file cabinet all neatly organized that you had been organizing for years, decades. And then suddenly somebody came in and started ripping out papers and throwing them up in the air. So it's like absolute chaos in their brain. So those papers could be like a movie they watched 10 years ago. It could be something they saw like an hour ago. It could be uh, people they knew 10 years ago. All that stuff's flying in the air, and they're desperately trying to grab at those papers to construct their reality. So that's how delusions are born. That's how false, unshakable beliefs are born. Is their brains desperately trying to construct a reality? It doesn't always construct it correctly. So instead of trying to convince them of objective reality, which is just something their brain, because of the brain damage, is just not able to do, what you instead want to do is understand what they believe and then help them get done what needs to get done based off of that reality. So, what can that look like? Let's say your person with dementia is absolutely convinced that you took their car keys. You stole the car keys from them. What that can look like is instead of defending yourself, which I know we want to do that, we want to defend ourselves. We want to instead uh, rebrand ourselves looking a little bit better, but fit within that worldview. So saying like, God, I've just been forgetting so much stuff. Maybe I misplaced it. I don't know. Do you want me to help you look for it? So something along those lines would be a lot more helpful than saying, no, I didn't do it. I promise. Like it's been over here the whole time. Like you're just asking their poor brain damaged brain to cash checks it can't cash. So ultimately, that's going to help resolve it a little bit quicker when it comes to the false beliefs. And again, kind of like the hallucinations, you want to speak to how they're feeling. Because again, that is the main thing that is real. Don't focus on what isn't real. I know it's hard not to, but it's hard to not correct them a bunch of times. It's correction works for small kids because they have some type of short-term, long-term memory, even when they're very little. Uh, that's why it just doesn't work. Good correcting just does not work for our folks with dementia. Instead, what's there is we want to demonstrate what we want them to do. So a way that I'll do that is I'll say, "Hey, how would you fold this towel? Like I fold it like this. How would you fold it?" So it's a way to kind of stealthily show them what they need to do instead of saying, "Oh, you're folding that towel wrong. Here, this is how you fold it." Like that can feel like, "Hey, why are you insulting my intelligence? I'm, way older than you." It's a way to preserve like that ego a little bit for that person with dementia and make it much more likely that they're going to do what you need them to do. So anyways, that was all last night. So tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, again, go to dementiasuccesspath.com if you're interested in joining. We are hopping on Zoom for our grand finale. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be diving into the most requested challenging behavior, which is refusals. So folks with dementia, especially in middle stages, will refuse to take a shower, to take their medicine, to change their clothes, even when it's like soaked with urine. Like it can be really maddening to know what to do. So we're covering that tonight. We're also talking about how to calm or de-escalate somebody who is really really upset with dementia. That's a really important skill. And then lastly, we're going to be talking a little bit about care planning. We're going to be talking about the important medical financial documents that you are going to need in order to effectively care for your person with dementia. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how we move into the future of caregiving, how we can find the support that we need. So, all really important topics. Again, if you are interested, we are going to be going live tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. To get the Zoom link, you go to dementiasuccesspath.com. Um, have I ever been to Asia? No, I have not. I have not ever been to Asia. Uh, that would be kind of cool to go on tour as a dementia educator. That would be pretty neat. But till I do that, uh, refusal to clean up, that grinds my gears. Yeah, I think what's there too is the cleaning up. How can we align cleaning up with something that they do care about? Probably a better way of looking at that. Uh, like maybe the way that you're prompting them to clean up right now makes them feel like you're telling them what to do. So framing the cleanup in a way where they feel like, wow, there's like a real purpose and what I'm doing really helps a lot. So what that can look like is instead of saying like, "Oh my gosh, mom, you left like all of your paper towels on the table. Like, why do you just never clean up? Like you need to clean up." That feels really that doesn't feel good. Instead saying like, "Oh, hey mom, uh there's some paper towels on the table. Uh do you think you could put them in a pile here for me?" Something along those lines. So you're giving them you're breaking it down even further. Or I'll say like, "Oh, could you do me a huge favor and just put them away? Thank you so much. Man, I've just been so overwhelmed. It's just so helpful." Again, like whatever is going to make them feel good about doing the task is going to be a lot more effective than what's going to make them feel like you're trying to control them, you're trying to tell them what to do all the time. Because truthfully, everybody wants to belong. Everybody wants to feel like they have a purpose and that they have a role in their home and with the people in their lives. So if you can frame the things that you need to get done in that way, you're going to find a lot more success. Do I address any financial concerns or issues? I will. I'll probably touch on them a bit. I'm not going to go in depth just for the sake of time, just to be super, super frank with you. But yeah, we are definitely going to dive into the paperwork on each stage. I'd say earlier stages is where the financial concerns are probably at the highest and where we should be thinking about it the most. However, if you're already in the middle stages, that's fine too, to think about the financial concerns. That's totally fine. Oh my goodness. Uh, yeah. And I mean, I think I totally agree that it can be really, really overwhelming to try to learn all the things all at once. So you got to take it one thing at a time. So I was saying on a different live too, when it comes to like planning care and things like that, you don't necessarily have to have every single gritty detail of all potential scenarios like already done. What helps a lot, yay, great. Um, what helps a lot when it comes to planning care for each of the stages, early, middle, late, is thinking about, okay, what type of support are they going to need while they're mostly living independent? What kind of support can I provide, or or what support can they financially afford when they're more middle stages? And then if they need total care, what would we do? So, so I think that's a good way of thinking, like, who would you call? Like, what paperwork would you get started? Like, it's good to at least have a touchstone of all that, and that's what we're gonna go over tonight, is, like, what would be those, like, touchstones if those scenarios happened in your life? So, like, for example, like, let's say I'll give my own family as an example. I know if my in-laws who are in their mid-70s right now, like, if something catastrophic happened, like, if, like, both of them were in, like, had falls or in really late stage dementia, hypothetically, what I would do, because they didn't financially plan super well, but they do own a house, is I would take their social security income and I would take the rent income that they would get from renting out their house, and I would essentially place them in private care in Mexico. The reason why I would do that is Medicaid, the access, because they have done big cuts and from the big beautiful bill already, like that's already starting to happen because these facilities that accept Medicaid patients don't want to be left holding the bag when they're no longer getting paid out. It's just gonna be a lot harder to qualify, it's gonna be harder to find a place that's anywhere nearby, and it's gonna be hard to find quality care. Uh, so instead of doing all that, instead of trying to spend down their assets and their finances to get them to qualify for Medicaid, instead, what I'm personally going to do is I am going to, place them in memory care or a nursing home in like an expat part of Mexico. So a place where like a lot of Americans and Canadians live, where there's people who are bilingual. Like there's definitely places that are super nice. Some of them by the ocean too. Um, that are cater to expats. Um, I would place them there because I think they would have it would be better patient staff ratios. It would be much better cost wise. It wouldn't require me and my husband to bankrupt ourselves to pay for their care. Because here, by comparison, private pay for like total care, for like memory care, for nursing home, for home health 24/7 is anywhere from 10 grand a month to $25,000 a month. Most people can't afford that, or if they can, it's because they sold all their assets and they're spending it down rapidly to get that done. And it's difficult to predict how long they're going to need that level of care. So, anyways, that is a quick breakdown of what I would do in that situation. You don't have to think through this nearly as hard as I have, uh, but it's good to at least have an idea of you could simplify like what you do in like, okay, if my person needed 24-hour care because they have very little money, I would look into international care options. Like that's literally all you got to have in your little brain when it comes to that type of stuff as far as feeling prepared. Like just having an idea of who you call, what paperwork you'd look into, is enough, and until you're in that situation. So that's a good balance between getting prepared but not overwhelming yourself with all the what ifs, because I think that can really mess with people too, when it comes to that. So, uh, yeah, uh, I could probably have like a whole presentation on my opinions on what's going to happen with Medicaid, but we're not going to get into that. Yeah. So as far as joining us tonight, on Zoom, go to dementiasuccesspath.com. I've also linked it in the description of this live too. The link to sign up. When you sign up, that gets you the Zoom link to our workshop tonight. And uh, you'll be able to also get replays from days 1 and 2, by doing that, and the cheat sheets we've been giving out throughout. So there's a lot of awesome free stuff, as well as too. Tonight we're giving out prizes. We're doing like a huge Q&A. We're going to be doing breakout rooms, so you'll be able to meet other caregivers too, virtually. So that's really, really awesome. It's going to be a great time tonight. The grand finale is always the best. I would expect about an hour and a half from tonight because of the Q&As. Yeah, you're definitely not the only one, Kathy. That's for sure. And just so you guys know, like the scale of how much you guys are not alone, night one, we had 1,400 people show up live on our Zoom. Second night, we had 1,000. I'd say tonight we're probably going to be around 1,000 again. So you're 110% not alone when it comes to what you're dealing with dementia. I wish that people would talk more about just how intense the responsibility is over time with dementia. Like we know that parenting, like children, is going to be very intense. I feel like more people should talk more about how much of a responsibility it is, so that the community could come together and come up with more solutions. How often do I do these workshops? So these big open public workshops, I only do once or twice a year. So if you can come tonight, definitely come, because I don't do these very often. It's a big production. Like that's a lot of work, guys. Uh, but I love doing it. So I am excited to offer this, because this is the robust help that I think, because I think what's there is there's a lot of information out there, but there isn't a lot of people like showing you what to do. And that's what we love to do in these workshops. Oh, thank you. All right. Well, everybody, I got to hop off, but I will see you guys hopefully tonight, very soon. Again, dementiasuccesspath.com to join us. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.